What's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of B is for Boat. We're here working on the pontoon yacht build out. This thing started life as a dream on a computer. We have a 2-month time frame to build a 44-foot long pontoon yacht. The goal is to be better than my 34-year-old Italian yacht that sank earlier this year, but it has since been revived. So we started by ordering a bunch of pontoons, cutting them in half, welding them together so we could have extra long pontoons to fit our boat. This boat's main awesomest feature is also a hot tub mounted right in the front. So we built a massive hot tub box enclosure, and then we attached it all to itself with the stringers and the horizontal bracing so we can put the decking on. And then in the last episode, we mounted 500 horsepower of outboard inboard motors. Actually, it's called an inboard outboard configuration. Anyways, we mounted 2 giant engines on the back of the boat, which raised a few concerns, which I will address in today's episode. But while we're on the topic of doing sketchy stuff, this boat is also a double-decker. Yeah, like that one. So before we get all the flooring and the furniture on, we gotta build the double deck. And that's what we're doing in today's episode. We're building the second story. This is the first time we've built a second story of anything. Let's get started. Let me jump you guys into the computer so I can show you our 3D model of exactly what we're starting to build here. So here's our 3D model of our boat, minus the furniture and a few other things, minus a bunch of accessories. And I wanted to show you, so what we're building in today's episode is the second level. So that's what I've highlighted right here. Here's the second level. And then we're gonna build the structure that supports the second level, being all of this huge array of different paralleled bars through here that hold the second level up. So the second level and all the second level supports is what we're building in today's episode. And so what we're gonna go ahead and get started with is gonna be the rectangle for the second level. Now this is very interesting because we've never built something that's so heavy that we actually can't lift it once we're done building it. But this is one of those things. The steel that goes into building this. Now we are building it out of steel because we did a weight per foot calculation of how much weight it was going to be with steel versus aluminum, and steel was only 13 pounds heavier than building out of aluminum. Reason being, we would have to use so much more aluminum than we have to use in steel, and that also saves us about $1,500 to $2,000 in material costs. So the supports for the deck are made out of steel, and then these were always going to be made out of steel because you need that springiness that steel offers rather than going with the more rigid but light aluminum. But we have budgeted for all of this weight in the build, so it's okay. It's not like something we didn't think about. So the rough game plan right now is to build the outside of this structure, this massive rectangle right here that is our second level, the outside, and then we are going to build the supports to elevate it up. But even just building this thing right here, this outside of this structure is gonna weigh a pretty decent amount. Actually, it's gonna look something like that. It's gonna be a pretty decent amount, but let's get it built and then we'll try lifting it up above our heads and see how we feel about it. Okay, Oscar got the second level frame welded out. So this is the bare bones of what our second level structure is going to be. Everything that fills this in has to be welded up high, because if we don't, we weld it on the ground here, it'll be too heavy for us to lift. So this is an interesting engineering process that we're doing, but that is our bare bones structure and it's about to get moved over to the boat. Now you may have seen him welding in a little bit different way than usual. We're using portable power, and that's because today's episode is sponsored by Anchor Solex. So Anchor Solex provided us with this F3800 portable power station, and this is 2 of their 400 watt portable solar panels. And this is just a really, really sweet piece of tech that once I saw it, I knew I had to have one. So the game plan is that we're gonna be using this and incorporating the solar panels into the boat actually, and this is gonna be the main power station for the boat. Everything that runs AC is gonna run off of this, and this is also gonna be our backup power, and it's gonna be our solar. So it's a pretty incredible combo. For things like boats and RVs, you can see it's got the RV port here. This has a 6,000 watt output ability, which is just so many watts. That could run 2 of our biggest welders here at the shop at the same time. To put that in perspective, you could see it's got not only 120, but it's also got 240, and then there's your RV plug as well. It's got a 12 volt car socket. It's got all of your phone and peripheral USB ports. When we power it up, you're gonna be able to see how much power we use just doing that welding. So we use 7% of our battery by doing that welding out that frame. The capacity of one F3800 unit is 3.84 kilowatt hours, but you can add up to 6 expansion batteries to expand the capacity to 26.9 kilowatt hours. This is your AC input power to charge the thing, and it could recharge itself to 100% in 1.5 hours. Or if you're going with solar and you got enough solar panels connected to this thing, it can recharge itself in 1.8 hours, which is pretty incredible. But it's not just made for things like boats and RVs. I mean, this thing is a big dog. It can handle a whole home as a backup power system. So if you pair this with the Anker Solix home power panel, lots of people are connecting these to their homes, and you can run them as complete off-grid backup power, or in the case of like severe weather, maybe like a power outage or something like that, you can switch your house over to one of these. So that's what we're gonna be kind of demoing today, is we're gonna pretend that there was a power outage here in Portland, rolling blackout, and we're gonna do all of our work today off of this Anker Solix F3800. It's gonna be a great demonstration of how, if you were to lose power, this bad boy can just pick you right up where you left off in life and you can keep on rolling. So some of these lights are actually on extension cord, crazy as that sounds. Okay, those lights are hardwired, so we can't plug them into the Solix, but all these lights, wired. That's them off. And that's us running on the Anker Solix F3800. This thing's dual voltage, so we can run the 240 and the 110 at the same time if we need to, which is a big bonus for us welding. We're at 93% right now. Our lights use 846 watts, which is a lot. So let's do this. We're doing an off-grid episode of B is for Build, powered by the Anker Solix F3800. Next step for the second level is we need to cut the back legs. Those back legs are a pretty easy cut. They're at exactly 7 feet long, and we're cutting those out of round tubing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those cut right now. Then I'm gonna temporarily throw a bunch of flooring onto the boat. Okay, I got my 7-footers cut, but the lights in this shop are draining the battery way faster than I thought they would. 850 watts of running power. To put that in perspective, that's twice as much as my hot tub uses to keep itself warm. So the lights are using a lot of power, so we're gonna go ahead and get this thing into solar so we can help it out a little bit, so we don't lose our battery as fast. These are the 400 watt portable solar panels. Each one of these is 400 watts. So these two things combined under full sun should equal the 800 watts that our lights on the inside are drawing out. These are gonna be a huge benefit for our boat, but they're also just a great benefit for anybody, you know, if you're living off grid or you're RVing or you're traveling or you're in a power outage scenario and you need to get a boost back to your power. These are absolutely incredible. They only took us like 2 or 3 minutes to set up. We're gonna get them plugged in. Let's see how much juice. The sun is not super hot right now. I don't even know if that matters though with solar technology. All right, turned out laying them flat was the best way to get the most sunlight. Like I said, it's not the maximum sunny day, but we're getting 560 watts off these two guys right now. It says it'll take 1.8 hours to recharge fully at our 560 watts. That's gonna take a big dent out of our 850 watt lights. All right, now that we're working on the deck of the boat, just for safety reasons, I think we're gonna turn on the actual house lights, but just know that this half of the shop is illuminated by the Anker Solix F3800. Oscar, will you hit the light switch over there? Voila. All right, so we've got some decking on here. This is just temporarily placed on here. Okay, so the second level has legs. It's got a leg right here. No, wait, it's right here. And then there's another leg maybe right here. We've marked them all out. And made sure that we've got the right stuff. Now we need to support the bolting pattern for the legs by welding in a cross brace between the stringers. So we've got the big stringers in the good spots and everything like that, and we're gonna go ahead and weld in some cross bracing right now. So these are what the supports look like, and basically a metal pad goes on like between, so it's like gonna be a sandwich. So you got the aluminum, then you've got the wood, then you've got a metal pad that lands here. The tubing welds into the metal pad, and the metal pad bolts, and it's sandwiches, and we'll have big washers and nuts and bolts that sandwich this all together to make a really nice strong mounting pad. So Oscar's got all of these welded in. Full disclosure, our welder runs a really weird 240 volt plug type, so we couldn't run it off of the battery. We had to run it off of the wall. And that's just because our welder is weird, but the battery definitely can do a 240. It's right here, but I was running, we've got quite the collection. We've got the lights going, we've got this the shop fan going, we've got the solar running outside, we've got the welder, and we've got the saw all going. And let's see where we're at right now before lunch. Down to 58%. So we're gonna go ahead and turn everything off, leave the solar running during lunch, see how we do. All right, back from a nice long lunch, and we charged up to 88%. It's time to move this thing over to the boat, and we're gonna connect it up to our welder and start to weld out this frame. So we've got the two uprights right there, and we've got the two 45s in the front right there, and those weld onto the frame. So the game plan is we're all gonna lift this frame up here, then we're gonna elevate it into the air about 7 feet on a ladder, and we're gonna weld the two 90 degrees straight up and down pulls in the back, and then we'll tilt the front up secondarily. Like that'll be the second step, is tilting the front up and welding in the 45s. Welcome back to a new day, guys. So you can see that we got this far. We've got two in the backup, and then we didn't get the front ones in before we ran into a pretty large snag. Now this snag is 100% my fault. Sometimes when you're doing 3D modeling, it's easy to just whip stuff up fast, and then you look at it and you go, yeah, that's there, and it you know, it kind of like looks right at a glance. And I'm learning the lesson now that if you want to be building off of your 3D model, you want to be using every single piece that you do in there as literally as a measuring stick and saying, okay, we got to cut this at 124 inches, put it at a 45-degree angle. You have to take more time and be much more precise on your 3D model. So what happened is the roof for this thing in my 3D model was 7 feet 5 inches in the air. It was 5 inches too high. And in reality, we wanted it 7 feet. Then the fun thing is that we cut it 7 feet, and we were standing up there and we were like, this is needlessly high up in the air. I don't have any friends that are 7 feet tall. I don't have any friends that are over 6'4". So we're like, you know what, let's take this opportunity. If we're changing the model and we're changing everything, let's lower the roof down as far as we can so we don't, so we're gonna bring that center of gravity down along with it. So we actually cut the back legs, dropped this roof now to 6'6" because we're gonna have some stuff hanging off the roof. So somebody that's 6'3" should be fine. If you're 6'5", you might have to duck under a few things. So I reworked the 3D model overnight. We are good to go. I came in early and charged back up our charging station. So I plugged that into solar. In 2 hours, we went from our 60% all the way back up to full. So we're good there. Kyle had his birthday yesterday, which he purposely didn't tell us about because he knew we'd take him out and party too hard. And then he went out with his other friends and partied too hard. So no Kyle today, but happy birthday, Kyle. Oscar and I are gonna start running this, and we are doing the same thing. We're running half the shop lights, all of the welding, all of the fans, all of the saws are all running off of our Anker Solex F3800. Let's get to work. Starting to take shape. I love these downshoots. They got a nice aggressive angle. I think they give the boat a really good look. That's really cool. So we got those things tacked in here. Now, because of the weight of everything and the angles that these are on, they want to slide. They want to spring out. We have foot pads designed. They are 14.5 inches by 3 inches, and that's what these things weld into. And then they bolt through here and into these guys, and we make a nice little sandwich. So we're going to go ahead and cut all of those foot pads right now. There's 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 will go in here before we are done. We're gonna cut the foot pads, we'll get them welded in here, and we'll send at least 1 bolt through each one so we can have this thing on 4 corners, not moving on us. That'll make us feel a lot more comfortable to continue putting in the supports. All right, we decided to just go full send and get every single pad on here. These are all the support pads that we need. Next step now is going to be to tack weld the tubes into the support pads. So you see we've got marks, maybe a few extra marks on this one. We're gonna have to double check that because I see a line here and a line here. And then a symbol where the tube goes. So those will get placed in the right spot and they will get tacked on. So we have, you know, a few in the back here, like this guy goes right here. We'll get that tacked in. We'll get the front ones tacked in, and that'll help us just keep this thing a lot more stable. It's so hard to film such a big structure with, I mean, it seems like it's got a very few tubes, but anyways, the legs have been tacked down to the pads now all the way around, and you can see some extra uprights. That is because we need to make sure that the height is good and set and perfect, and there's no sagging under its own weight as we start to add in these extra cross members, as we start to add in the new stuff from the design. We've got a ton of pieces cut, and it is time to start rocking and rolling and getting this thing structured out. These black lines are roughly what we're trying to make, and what we're gonna start with is the ones that go fully through that connect from the floor to the corner. So we're gonna go ahead and do this one on both sides. And then I think we're gonna have to remove a support or just move a support. And then we're gonna do this one on both sides. We just did a ton of math and stuff to make sure that we know exactly on the foot pads, exactly where the tubes land. So we got all that written down. And then now we just use the design to measure how far, like for instance, I'll measure how far this distance is. We'll make a line. So we'll put the tube there. Or actually, no, that one meets in the corner. So we're gonna cut and cope that one, and then we'll put it down there and weld it in. With the added tubes, things are more confusing looking, but it's going. We're going in the right direction, believe it or not. So if we look at our design, what we just welded in was this one and this one right here. And now what we're gonna go ahead and do is on the ground, we're gonna connect this short guy with this long guy on all three of these. And we're gonna just kind of tack those in place on the ground. And then we're gonna try and start to get them into place in here. This is really hard because these are all parallels, so that we have to be very careful with the spacing. The spacing needs to equal out the same all the way down, and then these angles are supposed to match as well too. So it's the more technical side of what we're doing here, but we'll get it. There were a few slight struggles with angles and such, but we've got our parallel bars coming down. Now there's different supporting and triangulation that go into here, but you can see that this bar isn't really doing the whole, like a ton of the structural work because it has this zigzag in it. And then there's another one that kind of catches up there to make it look like it's going up, and they're both going this way, while this bar is actually doing the major work. And that's the same as we go backwards, and those are the next few bars that I'm going to be building. Pulling the night shift, Oscar had to head out, so we've got the camper truck here, got my Huracan back there. And one thing that you might have noticed as we were doing this one right here, we finally ran out of juice on the Anker Solex F3800, but that is because I did not solar charge it at our lunch break. We definitely would have made it. It is late. It's like, it's 10 p.m. right now. Love how Apple Watches will never turn on. It's 10 p.m. and we just ran out of juice, so I plugged it in the charger, and we're charging a blazing fast 1725 watts. So literally in the time that we moved the cars in, it's back up to 20%. So it's pretty incredible. And with the Anker Solex InfiniPower, this is a really long lasting power station that's designed to last for 10 years of everyday use. They use EV class batteries that are safer and more reliable for up to 3,000 charge cycles. And they use industrial grade electronics, smart temperature control, as you can hear the fans running right now as it charges up to keep all the batteries like healthy and well protected. And I'm not 100% sure if I mentioned this or not, but you can plug this right into your EV if you want to, and it will charge at 6,000 watts over the 240 volt, 6,000 watt output charging into your EV for the 3.8 kilowatts, which is enough to get you about 12 miles or so, in case you need to do a little round trip. So in the event that you needed to go fully off grid and be as for build yourself for 2 days and build all of this structure with the seriously overkill lighting for camera work and all of this stuff right here, the Anchor Solix is your guy. Now really, it's a truly amazing piece of kit, and I am so thankful to have it on this boat. I'm gonna get these couple more bars in here, and then I'm gonna explain exactly how we're gonna utilize this and our 800 watts of portable solar panels on this build, and how this is gonna be integrated into this boat permanently. I'm gonna try and solo these rails and do some overhead welds. Should be funny. This is starting to look really cool. It's starting to really look like it does on the computer. I mean, it's gonna be even cooler once we get the little parts that go in like this. So then all the bars will look like they go swoop, and then swoop, and then swoop, and swoop. So it's kind of like a false thing because we're putting a plate over this so you won't see all the trigonometry that's going in here, triangulation to make everything stronger. So that is definitely to come. Don't think that this is it. Obviously there's a bunch of gusseting, and then we have the roof, the bars that are gonna run that way and then that way. And then a bunch of gusseting goes in here too. But I'm happy with how far we got. This was oddly enough a absolute ton of work that we did over the last few days. It doesn't really show as much, but a lot went into this, and it looks really cool. It is really shaping up to look like what's on the computer, which I'm really proud of. Let me show you the game plan for this guy right here. This is cool to have like a floor on here and enough stuff around to kind of like point at things and say, this is where stuff's gonna go. So if you check out the rendering here, here's a side angle showing the staircase. Let's say this, use your imagination for a little bit. This is a really steep version of the staircase that goes to the second level. So this is where the captain's area is right here. I'll be piloting the boat from over here. This is the console. And then if you go behind me, staircase goes up, and then you go into the second level. On the outside of this staircase over here is the bar. Over there is the fridge. I don't know, the bar, probably gonna put a sink in here and stuff like that. And then there's a bunch of storage underneath, which is right where the Anchor Solix F3800 is going to live. And this thing's main job is going to be to power our different 110 appliances. So not our DC appliances, but our 110 appliances. So what we've got is right about, way over here actually, we have the television. If I don't fall through the floor here. Television is over here. So that will be wired backwards in underneath and up into here and be plugged into the Solix. And then the biggest one is the hot tub. The hot tub pulls about 400 watts an hour, and that lives in the front way over there. So there will be wiring that runs all the way over here to the Anchor. And the cool thing is as we saw, our solar panels, and those get mounted all the way on the front over here. We're gonna build basically a solar bimini, is kind of what I'm gonna call that, out of solar panels to keep shade on me as the driver and a few other people over there. The solar panels are gonna charge at a faster rate than what the hot tub is gonna use. So if we fill up the hot tub, we get it warm when we're docked, and then we go about our way. We can keep it warm as we're going around, and we should actually be gaining juice even while the hot tub is running, because the solar panels, those dual 400 watt portable solar panels from Anchor Solix, add more juice than the hot tub uses. So that's fantastic. And there will also be power plumbed into the bar for a lot of different reasons. And when we're on shore power, that will charge the Anchor Solix F3800 back up, or like I said, the solar panel will do it very fast as well. I'm absolutely smitten with this game plan. Lastly, this is going to be our backup power to recharge our DC system. So we're going to have power running out from this over to our DC battery bank, where we'll be able to click this on and charge our DC batteries if for some reason the DC system is running low. So it's got a lot of uses, and I'm so stoked to have this thing for the boat and to be integrating it into this massive project. So I really want to thank Anchor Solix for sponsoring this episode, providing us with the F3800 portable power station and the two 400 watt portable solar panels. They are gonna be such a great addition to this boat. We had an absolute pleasure using them, and I hope that we showed you guys that if you are interested in backup power, remote power, a power station of any kind, these products are absolutely amazing. I have their 1,000-watt product that I've been demoing for over a year now as well, and it is amazing. I'm so happy, and this unlocks a lot of huge potential for us. But absolutely, if you are in a power outage situation, there's a power cut because of natural disaster or anything like that, I think I really showed you guys today that you can keep on doing your day-to-day with the Anker Solix F3800. And as always, the link to Anker Solix's website is gonna be at the top of the description, so you guys should use my link. Go click it right now, head on over to their website and check out all of their awesome products that they have to offer. So the next episode, we're gonna get everything gusseted up. We'll get wood up here. We'll get everything gusseted up and this thing fully welded out so it's super strong. Demo the strength and stuff for you. And we've been doing research on them engines over there. We're getting dangerously close to being ready to try and start them. I think I'm understanding what the wires do at this point. Some of them. So make sure you guys that you subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the future episodes coming on this boat project here, or like the camper truck that I just showed you behind me. Lots to come on everything. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!